Hello and welcome. He always needs to touch the flame. That's how Jared Kushner explained his father in law's penchant for controversies when he spoke to veteran investigative journalist Bob Woodward. Trump wades into controversies or he just creates one. He just have to. Now, the latest controversy is Trump going on the record calling CDC chief Robert Redfield's assessment that vaccine will not be widely available until next year and face masks is the best option we have now to stop the spread. According to Trump, a realtor businessman turned president, Robert Redfield, a virologist, co founder of the Institute of Human Virology at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, a man with nearly 4 decades of experience in virology and immunology, is confused. A realtor has a better picture about vaccine development and distribution than a world renowned virologist. Let's dig a bit into vaccine development process. I'm not a doctor and neither is the president, but Mr. Redfield is. Manufacturing is a supply chain, logistics and delivery game. It is one of the most complicated process at the start, but as systems mature, it will just keep getting more and more efficient. I will try to explain why Mr. Redfield said that it will be early next year or even later for the vaccines if they are developed to reach the public. The drugs are still under trial. We have so many vaccines that are under development that there is a good chance that one of them might hit the sweet spot. And that's also the problem. Why are we not saying that all vaccines will be successful? We cannot because we don't know their effectiveness. How do you know their effectiveness? You test them. You test them for their effectiveness and you test them for any unwanted side effects. You have to extensively test them. You take those results, go back to your lab, make the adjustments, and then you test again. This process must be given enough time for a good vaccine to come out. How can anyone be sure which vaccine will be good and which ones will not make the cut and when they will be ready? You just cannot say because you are still testing all of them. So the something will be out in weeks is just BS. It's actually the election that will happen in weeks, not a vaccine. Now let's look at the manufacturing side of things. Let's say hypothetically a vaccine somehow by sheer luck or sheer hard work or whatever gets the approval on November 15th. How many vaccines will be available for people on November 16th? Few thousands. If they have started producing before the approvals came through. Now how many people need it? Millions. Hundreds of millions. Is it possible to produce millions and millions of doses in few days? It's not possible because there are limits to what your factory can build. Vaccines are a product. Just like how tens of thousands of components go into the production of a car, vaccines have multiple components that go into making them. All of those components will have to be procured, suppliers identified, orders made, components must arrive in time. Then you need to build out your production to handle these components. Most pharma companies will have a set process and they can quickly remodel their production facility to address the needs of a vaccine production. It will take time and they will not build a factory to produce 100 million doses in day one. They will start by building thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and then move on to millions. And along the way, you keep adding more capacity, more suppliers by working with partners and bring in other companies and so on. Either way, just like any manufacturing company will do, production will start small and slowly scale up. It will take time. They will be aggressive, but they also know, unlike car manufacturing where you can send a botched car back to the car company, you cannot even have 0.001% of error while making a vaccine. So the entire production process, even during the build out, will come with so many requirements and that will add more time to scale out production. Robert Redfield was absolutely right. Vaccine will not be widely available until next year. It has way too many moving parts that no one, including the manufacturer, will know when it will see the light. No amount of money and bluster can change any of that. This kind of reminds me of Tesla's early struggles with Model 3 production. After spending more than a year creating a prototype Model 3, they got everything ready. When I say everything, they had the car on display by end of March 2017. Within a week of the introduction, they had like 300 or 325,000 pre-orders, which is possibly worth 10 billion, 15 billion. Tesla announced that they will start building 500,000 units by 2018, nearly a year and a half after the launch, but they just couldn't. The production chaos almost pushed the company into bankruptcy. Model 3 production went from building like 100 cars a week to 1,000 cars a week to 3,000, 5,000, and then it reached 10,000 cars a week over a period of 2 years. Scaling production takes time. You don't just waltz into a manufacturing plant and say, okay, let's double the production tomorrow and double it the day after. And I'm only talking about a car. Vaccines are a lot more complicated than a car. Thanks for watching.